Hello everyone, and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to take a long, deep dive into the history, background, details, and current market value of one very interesting American coin, the United States 1 cent from the year 1945. This coin is often referred to as a Lincoln wheat cent, and we will be talking specifically about the 1945 Denver issue, sometimes written as 1945D. And we will also explore what it means when we mention no mint mark, circulated condition, and how the value changes in today's collector market. We will go slowly, step by step, so that even if you are new to coin collecting, you will find this content easy to follow, and by the end you'll have a clear understanding of why this coin matters, how rare or common it is, and how much money you might expect to get if you have one in your own pocket or collection. Let's begin with some background history. The year 1945 was a very important year for the United States and for the whole world. It was a year when World War II finally came to an end, with victory in Europe in May and victory in Japan in August. The economy of the United States was still heavily influenced by the war effort, and millions of coins were produced because people needed money for everyday transactions. The Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for decades at this point. It was first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and it replaced the Indian head cent. The design by Victor David Brenner featured a portrait of Lincoln on the front, or obverse, side of the coin and on the back, or reverse, two wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. That is why collectors often call these coins wheat cents or wheat pennies. By 1945, the wheat cent design was still being used, and millions of coins were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. When we say 1945D, the D stands for the Denver Mint. However, when people mention without mint mark, they are talking about coins struck in Philadelphia, because coins from Philadelphia usually did not carry any mint mark at that time. So if you have a coin from 1945 that has no letter under the date, that means it came from Philadelphia. If it has a small d, that means Denver. If it has an S, that means San Francisco. Many people confuse the terms, so let's be clear. 1945D means it was struck in Denver, but 1945 without mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia. Now, how many of these coins were made? The mintage figures are very high. In 1945, Philadelphia struck over 1 billion Lincoln cents. Denver struck more than 266 million, and San Francisco struck about 181 million. Because the numbers are so huge, this means the coin is not very rare. In fact, most 1945 cents, whether from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, are considered common. They were made of a usual bronze composition, which is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, unlike the special steel cents of 1943. By 1945, the United States had returned to copper cents, and so the coin feels heavy and solid, with that traditional reddish-brown copper color that changes over time due to circulation. When we talk about condition, collectors often use grading terms. If a coin is heavily worn, with most details flat, it is called good condition. If it has a little more detail but still shows wear, it might be very good or fine. If the details are sharp but with some light wear, it is called very fine or extremely fine. If it looks almost new, it may be called about uncirculated. And if it has never been used and still has full mint luster, it is called mint state. The value of a coin changes dramatically depending on this condition. So, what about the value of a 1945 1 cent coin today in the market? If you have one from circulation in average condition, meaning it is clear wear, it is usually worth only about 5 cents to 20 cents. That is not very high, because so many of them exist. If the coin is in very fine condition, maybe you might get 30 cents to 50 cents. In extremely fine condition, it might go for around 75 cents to $1. In about uncirculated condition, maybe $1 or $2. In mint state, the value can go higher, maybe $5, $10, or even more depending on the grade. For example, a coin graded MS65, which means a very high mint state grade, could be worth around $20 to $30. If it is an especially nice example with red color preserved, it can go even higher, sometimes $50 to $100 at auction. But for most people who find a 1945 cent in a jar, in a drawer, or in pocket change, the value will be small, just a few cents over face value.